issue facing our community, Madam Deputy Speaker, is the cost of living. So many locals are doing it so tough, trying to make it day to day, bill to bill, week to week. And while there is always more work to do, Madam Deputy Speaker, the federal coalition government here in Canberra and the former state LNP government in Queensland have done a lot of work to give relief to locals when it comes to the cost of living. The obvious big-ticket item is we repealed Labor's carbon tax, which was costing locals in my community, the average family household budget, $550 a year. And when we repealed Labor's carbon tax, which was costing that $550 a year, we also kept in place all the compensation measures that the Labor Party had put in. So the Labor Party said, well, it's going to cost pensioners in the community more for their electricity, so we're going to compensate them through the energy supplement. So even though it's costing $550 a year, we'll give singles $361 a year, that's single pensioners, and we'll give couple pensioners $546 a year. And we said pensioners are doing it tough, we'll keep that energy supplement, so we'll keep that $361 a year extra for singles, $546 a year extra for couples, but we'll remove the carbon tax, saving the average household $550 a year. The Labor Party also changed the income tax thresholds, effectively a tax cut as compensation for the carbon tax. We said we'll keep that tax cut, but we'll remove the carbon tax. So we've increased the pension, which was the compensation for the carbon tax. We've kept the tax cuts, which were compensation for Labor's carbon tax, but we've abolished the carbon tax, saving the average household $550 a year. Coming up on March 20, we're lowering the social security deeming rates for pensioners as well, which is about a $200 million boost to pensioners across the country, or part pensioners, I should say, to 770,000 part pensioners. That's about another $80 in the pocket of local part pensioners. When we removed Labor's carbon tax, a carbon tax supported by the Labor Party in Queensland, the state LNP government, the then state LNP government, reduced public transport by 5%. That was saving commuters in my electorate, daily commuters from Morayfield to Brisbane, $220 a year. So 5% reduction, it was saving them $220 a year. The Labor Party, the former state Labor government, was increasing public transport by 15% every single year. So every single year there was a 15% increase in public transport fares. The former LNP government halved that. They halved Labor's 15% year-on-year increases. They also created free travel for daily commuters who were travelling 9 trips or more a week. So their weekly commute basically meant they got a free trip home on Friday. And I notice, Labor members are laughing. They think that cost of living is irrelevant. I know they've already lost touch when it comes to cost of living. They're very sensitive about this. But these changes, Madam Speaker, they're very touchy when it comes to this, Madam Speaker. But these changes, Madam Speaker, these changes, Madam Speaker, save commuters in my electorate $1,000 a year on their travel. So the LNP, through removing Labor's carbon tax, changing bad state Labor policies, saved daily commuters in my electorate $1,000 a year. That's on top of the $546 a year for pensioners that got an increase in the couples. That's on top of the $550 a year savings that we saw on electricity bills. Now, as I said, there's a change in Queensland politics. I accept that. There is a question, but there is a question for Labor members here and in Queensland. If the state LNP were re-elected, they were going to set aside $2 billion to lower water bills in our community by paying down South East Queensland water debt, and that would have saved the average household in my electorate $100 a year on their water bill. What did the Labor Party say? Nothing. Nothing at all. Now, we also had a multi-billion-dollar fund to relieve cost of living if the LNP were re-elected at the state level. That would have saved another $577 a year on electricity bills for locals in my community. So if the LNP were re-elected in Queensland, and I accept they weren't, we would have seen water bills lowered by $100, we would have seen another $577 reduction in electricity prices. So my plea to the new Queensland State Government, my question to the Labor Party in Queensland is, what are they going to do? What are they going to do to match that $100 saving on water bills that are affecting locals in my community? What's the Labor Party going to do to reduce electricity prices? And the Labor member screams out about electricity. Well, the Labor Party are creating an energy monopoly in Queensland What are they going to do with an energy monopoly, a state-owned energy monopoly, to guarantee that electricity prices won't go up for people in my community? What are they going to do? Because if we're really honest about this, Madam Deputy Speaker, I think the last people that thought they'd be forming government was the Labor Party, but they have, and they are now the government, and there are serious questions when it comes to cost of living for locals. What are they going to do on water bills? What are they going to do on electricity bills? What are they going to do on public transport bills? Because our plan was clearly laid out. The coalition government has clearly made very significant savings for people in my electorate. And the question now is, what is the Labor Party going to do when it comes to cost of living for locals?